Hey, in this video, I'm going to show you how to generate seller leads for your real estate business on autopilot using meta advertising. So my name is Corey. I run a real estate marketing agency. We work with clients to manage their outbound marketing and generate leads on autopilot. But in this video, I'm going to show you how to set up your own advertising so you can start to generate some leads and get a feel for your outbound marketing. So let's begin. So in the description, you'll see a link to set up your ad account. Once you have that set up, you can begin with this stage, but you just need to add your payment information, get your account set up with your business information, and you're good to go. So you want to create your ad, you want to create your campaign, you want to select leads as the objective, as that's what we're trying to generate. Don't use the recommended settings, use manual leads. And the reason for that is recommended turns on a lot of automation and a lot of stuff that will change the algorithm and how it works. It will usually expand outwards of your audience and get the wrong leads. So stick to manual and let's begin. So what we want to do is we want to name the campaign something related to what we're trying to do. So if this campaign is for seller leads specifically, let's name it something like that. So my real estate company seller leads. So my real estate company seller leads. Now this is very important. You need to choose the special category of housing. If you don't choose this, what's going to happen is you run the risk of your ads being rejected and then also your ad account being suspended. If you do this too many times, it's going to flag your account and Facebook will suspend your account. So always choose housing. It will restrict some of the targeting, but you have to do it. So just make sure it's selected before you run the advertising. Country, you can change this to the country you're in. Most of our clients would be in the US, so we could change that if we needed to. As we come down, the objective is leads. Daily budget, we're not actually going to use the campaign budget. We're going to change this to ad set. This means we can set the budget for each targeting that we want to set, and I'll explain that now. So with your ad set, this is basically your audience or your target audience. So when you're setting this up, you can name it to be in line with that. So for example, this one is going to be Zillow. We're going to start Zillow and we're going to do Miami, Florida. So sellers in Miami, Florida that are interested in Zillow. So the instant forms is selected. That's what we want to do. You should see your Facebook page. You should have your Instagram page also show up down below. And then you'll see the daily budget. So big question when we work with clients is what budget should I use? What should I spend? I always recommend spending $50 as the minimum starting out because it's not so little that you won't get results and it's not so much that you start burning money without actually seeing any results. So set that to 50, let it run for a few days. You can always review, see how it's running, see what you're getting back, and you'll be able to see the results from that and then tweak the budget itself. So you can leave the start date as is. The end date you don't have to set, just make sure to check the account and turn it off or else you're going to spend a lot of money. So coming down, this is the very important part. So your audience is super important. Now what you want to do is this is where you'll add the location. So let's change it to Miami. Let me get rid of this. We should be able to do. I need to go back here. We will change this to the US or else we're not going to see that location. So United States. We have United States. We're going to jump back in. We're going to come down. And now we should be able to put in Miami. So now we can see Miami, Florida. We can change this to a 20-mile radius. And this is also important. You want to make sure that whatever radius you're setting, one, if you're doing housing, you can actually service it. So if you're looking for seller leads, make sure that these are homes that you can visit, you can actually inspect. They're homes that you can actually purchase. What some clients do is they'll spend a lot of money on a huge radius. They'll get a bunch of leads, but it's not actually homes that they can reach. It's not property that they're interested in. So try and keep it as niche as possible while also keeping it open a little bit. I know that sounds pretty broad, but don't go too far and don't go too little. There's a sweet spot that needs to be met. So we're going to do a 20-mile radius around Miami. We can come down. You won't be able to change the age when it comes to housing. That's because of discriminatory practices. So if you were selling a home, you can't only sell to younger people, older people, and that's why that's there. So it doesn't really affect the targeting itself. The important part is this section. So we can choose our interests. So this is what the person that we're targeting is interested in. So it's what they're looking at on Facebook and Instagram every day. Maybe they're searching, maybe they're on WhatsApp looking it up. all of that data is then fed to Meta, and then when we choose an interest, that's what makes the ad show up to those people. So as I said, we're going to choose Zillow for this one. We actually get good results from people that are, so if somebody's on Zillow, they're usually looking to either sell or buy a property. And if they're looking to buy a property, the benefit with seller leads is if they're going to buy a property, most of the time that person is selling their old property. So Zillow is a really good one. Real estate is also a very broad one. And you don't want to niche these down too much, because what happens is if you niche it down too much, you're going to spend a lot of money on the leads. Whereas if you leave it low, you let the algorithm work its magic, it will find the leads you're looking for at a lower price. So don't add too many, don't overcomplicate it. You can come up with different ones. You can go to suggestions. It will give you different prompts that you can use. So another platform, you have first time buyers, property finder, house, real estate. And what you can do is you can split that into multiple different ad sets. What that's going to do is it's going to allow you to A/B test every audience. And we do that with every client. So we would do it across maybe 3 or 4 different ad sets. We would run the same budget and see which one's performing best. You need to do that across everything when you're doing meta advertising. Testing is super important. So keep that in mind when you are setting up your account and running these ads. So placements is also an important one. I always go to manual placements. What I do is I turn off audience network. That will keep your ads from showing up on games that are on Facebook, any third-party platforms that they partner with. It's just stuff that you don't really get a result from, and it's kind of a waste, so we stay away from it. I would also turn off in-stream ads. I would turn off search results, and this can all be tested too. So this isn't gospel. This isn't the way you can do it. It's basically what we've seen the best results, and it's what I recommend. But we've tested this across multiple different accounts, and sometimes you can get leads from every placement, sometimes we don't. So the recommended would be this kind of setup. So keep the stories and reels. You can leave all of this on. You can probably get rid of the explore. I don't really see much results from them. Everything else we do. So feed is very important. That's probably the most important. Stories and reels, very important too. So once you have those selected, we can move on to the ad level. So this is where you're actually going to build the advertisement itself, what's going to show up for people. So let's name it house 1, as I'm sure you're going to have a picture of a house, or maybe you'll have a graphic that says, hey, if you're looking to sell your home in Miami or Florida or Texas or whatever the location you're focused on, you can have a graphic made to attract people's attention, or you might have an image. So as we come down, I have it set to house 1. We have your Facebook page. You'll also see a prompt to add your Instagram account. You can click that, add your Instagram, so it shows up on both platforms under each account. You can run these ads just with a Facebook account. You don't need an Instagram, but it is recommended that you use both. So if we come down, you'll have the option to do a single image or video or a carousel. Now, if you're selling homes, I highly recommend using the carousel, because you can showcase each home, or you can showcase one home and the interior, the garages, any property that or any bonuses that property might have, you can show in a carousel. But when you're looking to purchase property, so to get seller leads, I recommend just doing a single image. It works best, and as I said, it's in the past, it's what we've seen get the most results. So add an image on the account. I should have some basic stuff. Let's go for this one. Now, when you reach this stage, you're going to have the option to crop the images. So sometimes if you have really high quality photography, maybe you've sent out a photographer to take pictures of the property, it's usually always going to be landscape. So it's going to be like this, where it's widescreen. You can crop it in Facebook, so it's not an issue. You can move it around. For the feed, I highly recommend doing that. Now, if you don't have an image that fits stories, like if I do this, it looks okay, but it doesn't show the full property, I wouldn't use it. And the reason I also wouldn't do that on a normal photography or a photo, it means that the person has no idea what this is about. There's no text, there's no copy. Whereas if you leave it as original, you'll have text above or you'll have text below, depending on how the placement shows up, and it gives people more information into what the picture is. So I'll show you that once we actually optimize the ad itself and build it out. So once you click next, you'll have all of the enhancements that you can choose. We have expand image, which is okay. 3D animation, I don't use. This is an example of what the text shows up. So you can see when it does stretch, it shows the headline above. You can see the basic one where it has the text above. It's not showing the stories for some reason. This one I recommend turning off. The adjust brightness, I would turn that off, because we've noticed sometimes it will change the color of the house. It will change the quality of the image. So I highly recommend turning that off. It seems like Facebook hasn't really got that up to a high standard at the moment. An important one is music. I recommend leaving music on. The thing that I notice a lot of clients don't do, or people that we speak to, they don't change the music manually. And what can happen is it ends up choosing Christmas music. It can use Halloween music in the middle of summer. And you've probably seen that on some ads that you've seen online. It'll have music that doesn't really align with the brand. Maybe it's a luxury brand and it's not luxury music. So spend the time to go through, change the music, choose it manually. It's really easy to do, but for this example, I'm just going to leave it on automatic choice. And like I said, let the algorithm kind of do its magic. So here we go. We have the image, we have the account itself, and let's get some ad copy. So the primary text is what's going to show up above the ad. It's what most people are going to be attracted to. So I quickly put in a prompt into ChatGPT. I hope you guys are using ChatGPT. I've become addicted to it. So you can see I've just done cash offer for homes in Miami, ad copy. So it's giving me back, sell your Miami home for cash today. Need to sell your home fast. We buy Miami homes as is for cash. No repairs, no realtor fees, no hassle. So really good, simple to use copy. That will work. We've used very similar stuff for our clients. So let's quickly choose that. And what I recommend is adding some emojis to grab attention. So let's do a house up there. If we come down, let's make these points stand out a bit more with some house emojis. And you'll see in real time that gets built on the right hand side, so we can see it actually appear. So as I said, sell your Miami home for cash today. We have good copy, we have a good prompt, we have good reasons. Now, really important part is your call to action. So don't wait. Let's change this, as we don't want people to call us. We're going to do leads. So we're going to say complete our quick and easy form to get a cash offer today. So with this also, when somebody fills in the form, when I say get a cash offer today, you really want to, when somebody fills in the forms, you want to get back to them as soon as possible. And I recommend to clients to get back within 15 minutes. The lower and the faster you can get back to people, the higher chance you're going to have to actually convert them and to speak to them. What can happen is if you leave your leads for even a few hours, they completely forget that they filled it in, or they could have went somewhere else. The only way to really fix that issue is to ask more questions, get people more involved. But most of the time, no matter how many questions you ask, the lead time is a very important factor. You need to get back to your leads as soon as they come in. So we have our primary copy. Let's come down. We have our headline. So for a headline, we can simply just add get a cash offer today. And let's put a little house. So you'll see that shows up here. So now we have this. What we want to do is we want to change our, you can add the description also if you want. I'm not going to do it now, but that will just show up below the cash offer today. Call to action, I would almost always use something like get offer or learn more. I wouldn't really use stuff like sign up, because it sounds a bit more, I don't know, there's more incentive behind it, more kind of intrigue, but we've never really gotten good results when we've used in sign up or anything that kind of pulls people in. Get offer is usually the best one, especially because if they are looking for a cash offer and that's their call to action, it's the best one for the use case. So we have our advantage creative. That means the enhancements. It shows you what's on, what is off. You can change that now. And then we have our form. So I've made one before, but let's edit it. So what we want to add here is we want to add enough questions to grab attention, but we don't want to push people away. So what I've set this form to is higher intent. I highly recommend, if you're setting up your ad forms, not to use more volume. What's going to happen is people will fill it in by accident, because if I select it, you'll see when somebody gets to the end of a more volume form, they simply hit submit. There's no verification or method to check if that's a real lead. Whereas if we do higher intent, now the person has to manually slide across. That's going to get rid of a lot of people that fill in the form accidentally. They don't remember filling it in. They maybe fill it in at 2 a.m. So that's, I would never use more volume. Always use higher intent. And when we come down to the actual questions, you want to ask at least 2 questions on these forms. You never want to run an ad that's just a name, phone number, and email. You're going to be bombarded with just a bunch of leads that are very cheap, but they're a waste of time. So never do that. Always add some questions specific to your target audience, meaning the location and maybe the home. So for these questions we've added, is your home located in Miami? Really simple, yes or no. If I wanted to, we could add conditional logic, which means if they say no, we don't want that lead, we can simply say close the form. That means that we won't get that lead, it won't come through. and it will show up for the person that, hey, you're not a lead that we're looking for right now. Thank you for attempting to fill in the form. And that's good to get rid of any sort of time wasters and just leads that are bad quality. But for now, I'm going to leave it off just for ease of use for the video. So, is your home located in Miami? Yes or no? What is the condition of the home? So, this is a really easy question where we can go 1 to 10. We can say it needs major repairs, it's average, or it's a brand new home. So, the person has to select that to come true. That shows up here. So, they have a drop down, they can go through, choose the quality of the home or the condition that it's in. And it's another factor that these questions are very easy for somebody to complete, but they take a few seconds to fill in, and that's the seconds that makes the difference to actually get rid of all of the time wasters, the people that are just filling in the leads because they're bored. You want to get rid of all of those people as much as possible. And then a big question is, how much do you value the home at? So this gives them a chance to put in an amount that they're looking for the home. That means if you're doing seller leads and you're trying to price the homes, some could be way off and some could be very close. This really gives you a good indication on, is the property worth approaching the lead and speaking to them and getting the best price possible with the lead. Sometimes we've seen with clients that they'll fill this in, they could value their home extremely more than what it's worth, and at least then you know, hey, this isn't worth reaching out to, we're nowhere near a deal. But then when you get a lead where the value lines up with some margin that you can make profit, it makes more sense for you to reach out. So another really good question. You can add more to this. I would always recommend at least 2 questions. You can add more. The biggest factor, that's going to happen, or the issue you're going to come across, is the more questions you ask, the more tedious the form becomes to fill in. And even if the lead or the prospect was going to be a legitimate person, sometimes people just don't want to fill in a bunch of questions. So you need to keep that in mind. As much as you want to filter out all of the time wasters and the people that might be filling in the lead because they're bored, or completing the form because they're bored, you want to keep in mind you don't want to get rid of the correct people. So once you're building the form, just make sure that you keep that in mind as you're building. So once you come down, the contact information is very important. Now you can ask for the email, full name, phone number. Those are kind of the basics. That's what I'd always get from people. What you can do to increase the quality, and I made a previous video, is you can also add a question where you say, what is the best number to reach you on? And what this is going to do is it's going to mean that the person has to manually fill in their phone number. Now, this gets rid of a lot of time wasters. It's probably one of the best things that we've added to our ads to get rid of time wasters. So, highly recommend trying that. The only thing is, it will increase your ad cost the more questions you add. And this is a very specific one where if people have to fill in their phone number, it gets a bit kind of, it's asking for more information that maybe they don't want to give up. So, it's up to you to trial that. I highly recommend that we use it across all of our clients. But let's get rid of it for now. So we have those questions, really simple for somebody to fill in, and we're gonna hit create. So you will name it something like, well, it should be seller leads. So let's do seller leads Q4 24. And then when we come down, we have our privacy policy. So this should go to your website. So your link, for example, it's our agency website, privacy. Then you have your review screen. So this is what the person sees. As I said, they manually have to slide to submit the lead itself. It's really good. And then message for lead. So once they finish it, what do they get? We said, thanks, you're all set. You can expect a phone call for our team with a cash offer within the next 24 hours. As I said, you want to really be giving people a phone call in the next 10 minutes, 15 minutes. The longer you leave this, the more the leads are going to go cold very fast when you're doing meta advertising compared to Google or any other platform. So you really need to get onto the leads as soon as possible. You have a bunch of options here. You can choose go to website, you can do view file, call the business. Now, all of these are viable. You can choose them. Go to website is good if you want to send them to maybe some more information on them selling their home. View file is really good if you have a lead magnet that you're using. So maybe it's a how to get more value for your home guide, how to sell your home quickly in Miami guide. This is all stuff you can make, and then you can upload the PDF for people to download, and it completely changes the experience. When they click the button, they can download that file. So I'm going to leave it on the website, view more homes. They can click view more homes, and then we get the lead. So that's the form created. I'll quickly hit create. And now you'll see the ad is completely set up. So we built out the ad from the start. We have all of the information we need. We have the form set up. We have the call to action set up. And this is an ad that we can run now. We can launch it, and it will start to generate leads. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you got value from it. If you have any questions, let me know. I'd be happy to go in more depth or explain any intricate kind of details that you maybe are stuck on. And if you do have a quick question, I'll answer them in the comments. So thanks so much for watching. If you enjoy this content, feel free to subscribe. A lot more content is on the way, and I look forward to making more videos.